A world where many chase after money and status, kind hearts remain silent, carrying their dreams patiently and waiting for their chance to shine. This is a story of love, heartbreak, and ambition, about a poor young man who learned that true strength doesn't come from wealth, but from the heart and perseverance, and about a woman who discovered that life's true values cannot be bought with gold. John worked in a small metal workshop on the outskirts of the city. The sound of his hammer was always mixed with the rhythm of the workshop, and his clothes were constantly covered in iron dust. Yet he carried a heart that never rusted, and it was devoted to a girl named Leanne. Leanne was beautiful and radiant, dreaming of a luxurious life. John loved her sincerely, but he had nothing to offer but kind words and good intentions. When he confessed his love, she smiled faintly with a touch of sarcasm and said, "I want a life, not a metal workshop. I'm sorry, John. You deserve someone else." That sentence was enough to shatter years of dreams. Months later, news spread of her engagement to Ryan, a wealthy young man who drove luxury cars and spent his nights in parties and women's company. Everyone knew his behavior, except Leanne. Or perhaps she ignored the truth because she loved money more than loyalty. John traveled abroad after life became suffocating. He worked in restaurants and warehouses, then joined a short course in e-commerce. His ambition was like a small flame that refused to die. With patience and intelligence, he started a simple project from a small room. Then it expanded and grew. After 7 years, he returned to his hometown as the owner of one of the largest digital commerce and service companies. He returned as a different man, strong, confident, elegant, yet he had never forgotten how his heart was once broken. Meanwhile, Leanne discovered the harsh truth. Her marriage to Ryan was the beginning of a painful downfall. Repeated betrayals, late-night parties, reckless spending, accumulated debts, business collapse. Despite her desperate attempts to save the marriage, the cracks were too deep to fix. One day, Ryan shouted at her, "I can't support you or even myself. I need to work." But the problem was that no company wanted to hire a man known for his reckless behavior. In a desperate moment, he applied to Alpha Group. He didn't know it was John's company. Ryan entered the interview room. Behind the large glass desk appeared a familiar face. John stood confidently and said calmly, "Hello, Ryan. I didn't expect this meeting." Ryan's face changed color, and he felt the ground shift beneath his feet. He sat down, barely able to speak. I'm looking for a job. Circumstances have changed." John smiled with a smile that carried 1,000 meanings. Circumstances always change, Ryan. The question is, do we change with them? After a few moments of thought, John said, "You will work with us, but you will start from zero, like any new employee." It wasn't a decision for revenge, but a lesson in justice. A week later, Leanne appeared in the company lobby. She looked tired, her features weary, as if the years had fallen on her shoulders. When she saw John, she was overwhelmed by silence. Finally, she said, "You were always different, and I was blind." John replied in a calm tone, "We all make mistakes, Leanne. The important thing is not to make them twice." She asked shyly, "Can we start over?" Before he could answer, a girl carrying papers approached. She was Dana, a diligent employee in the design department. She said with a gentle smile, "Sorry, Mr. John, here is the file you requested." John smiled at her and said, "Thank you, Dana. Go ahead." Leanne noticed the way he looked at Dana, a natural yet sincere gaze, deep without words. She realized that time had passed and that love cannot be demanded when it rains. It is planted under the sun. She walked away without a word. Over time, John's relationship with Dana developed. It was simple, resembling his early beginnings, appreciating the stars in the sky rather than the shine of gold. One evening, John stood with her on the company balcony, the city sparkling beneath their feet. He said to her, "You know, I used to think success was the end, but I discovered it's just the beginning." She smiled softly. And beginnings, the beautiful thing about them is that they are open to everything. He looked at her for a long moment and said, "Shall we start something new?" She replied with a gentle blush, "I wouldn't say no." And so, John's story was no longer about poverty and wealth, nor about revenge and regret. It became a story of a new beginning for a man who recognized his worth and finally found someone who saw it too.